I came to King's Lynn in 1970, ran a hotel for a long time and then decided to have a complete change of direction, and I opened an art centre in Gaywood. That consisted of an art supplies shop, a gallery and a coffee shop, and most importantly a studio. And in the studio we had a lot of members who joined us, and one of the things that I liked to talk about was the fact that you don't have to paint on one surface. There are so many different surfaces available to you. If you haven't got a piece of watercolour paper or a canvas, it doesn't matter, find something else. And you can paint on slate, you can paint on glass, textures, fabrics, anything like that. And it happened that I used to take coach parties to the design centre in London to help inspire us. And one of the things that I really found fascinating one year was to see a young lady painting on silk. And so I was so amazed by it. I kept going back and watching her and trying to understand her techniques. And then when I got back to King's Lynn, I thought, this is for me, I really want to give this a go. So that's how I started painting on silk and have encouraged other people to do the same. So when you want to paint on silk, obviously the first thing is you have to obtain your silk, and this comes from China, as you might guess, and you have to take your piece of silk, stretch it onto a framework with 3-pronged pins, which is quite hard to say. You stretch it really tight like a drum, and then you can do several different things. You can simply throw colour at it, which is the silk paints, which are acrylic based, and you can move it around like you would a watercolour and just see how it all mixes up. That's one way. Another way is to actually create a picture, and to do that you need to have a product called gutta, which comes in a little tube, something like a toothpaste tube but much smaller, and you draw your picture onto the silk very carefully, making sure the gutta goes into the silk, and then when it's all dry you can start to put your colour in, and you do it in a similar way to watercolour, by dampening the silk first of all and then running the colours in if you want to do blending. But if you want a hard line, then again, like watercolour, you use the silk dry. So it's a question of experimenting and finding your own way. It's a little bit like painting on blotting paper, really. It has a mind of its own, and you've got to try and control it if you can. This is probably one of the first paintings I did. I've kept it because I've loved it and it means a lot to me. When I first saw silk painting, I really thought that it belonged in China. You know, it was a Chinese thing, or an Eastern thing anyway. And I was really inspired to do this painting by the fabric. I loved the dress and the outfit that she was wearing, and the fabric. It didn't have to be those particular colours, they were the colours I chose. But I just loved the design of it, the elegance of it, and I felt that it showed silk painting, you know, as it should be, or as I envisaged it should be. And as the years have gone by, obviously I've progressed into different things and so on, but that was my first inspiration. The other idea I had was to literally hang some raw silk from the board so that people could handle it. I actually want people to touch it, feel it, and understand that that's the beautiful, beautiful fabric that's come from these hard-working silkworms, and to understand how strong it is as well. I mean, it looks very delicate and very, very fine, but actually, you know, if you think about parachutes in the wartime, our soldiers were jumping out of planes on silk like that. So I just wanted people to have the experience of handling the silk and understanding that that's what I've painted on. My main inspiration for my silk paintings, not entirely, but the main inspiration is literally from nature, from the things around me in Snettisham where I live, from going to open gardens in the area, which I do regularly, and also from the birds that live in the park that I live on. The owl I hear every night, the red kites overhead all the time, the kestrel hovering, and the other birds. I thought, well, it's interesting to be able to have a record of nature that's going on round about me. A lot of the pictures here today are inspired by the area I live in, Snettisham, and I live on a beautiful park home with a river and ducks. And so a lot of the natural things here are what I find on a day-to-day basis, what I see and what I gather. The other thing I love to do is to go to the National Gardens on a Sunday, National Open Gardens on a Sunday, and see the different, for instance, last Sunday I went to a snowdrop walk again. I like to go on to the daffodil walks and bluebell walks. They're just so inspirational. The colours are bright and beautiful, and you can smell them and you can feel them, and that's what I've tried very hard to portray in these silk paintings, so that other people have that same experience that I've had. Silk painting is different to what I normally do. I would class myself as a portrait artist. I normally work in pastels, acrylics and oils, and I love to do portraits of children, particularly in activities, and animals, particularly horses. But that's very tight. The point is, with a portrait, it's got to be right, hasn't it? If it's somebody's dog or somebody's horse, it's got to be that one. So when I turn to my silk paintings, it enables me to loosen up my whole style. It enables me to be flexible, more versatile, because the medium is speaking to me. The medium is telling me, you can't go this way or you can't go that way. You have to go where I tell you. And so it's a lovely thing to do from time to time, to do the silk. It takes me away from the tightness of doing portrait work, which I love anyway, but it's a nice alternative. I've been a member of the West Norfolk Artists Association for many years. I'm probably almost one of the founding members now, and it's been a wonderful journey, a wonderful experience. And now that we have our permanent home at Chequer House, I was really honoured to be asked to be one of the first artists to have a pop-up exhibition. Thrilled, in fact. And that was one reason I decided to put the silks in, because I felt that it was something a bit different to the rest of the exhibition. So yes, I'm thrilled to be here. I'd love to see lots of visitors for me and for the rest of the artists here. Of course, there are another 70 of us, and so please do come and see us, and come and look at this wonderful gallery which we're so pleased and privileged to have in King's Lynn.